What is happening, fishaholics? I hope you guys are having a great Easter weekend. As for me, it's actually not too shabby here. It's pretty nice and sunny out. It's about 45 degrees out. I actually did go out a little bit earlier today to see how the waters are in my area, and finally they are ice-free. But the water temperatures, though, they are still very frigid, probably like high 30s probably. And I did a little bit of bass fishing earlier to see if there was any chance that there was any bass up shallow already, but seems like since I didn't catch anything, I do have a feeling that it's still going to be a little bit until they are there. So I'll give it a couple more weeks, but at the meantime though, I want to go ahead and actually go over with you guys what my plans are for the 2025 bass fishing season here in my area. Well, obviously, you guys know the drill that obviously I usually carry one bait cast rod and reel combo with me, and of course I do need a spinning rod and reel combo with me too. Anybody that does bass fishing obviously knows the drill about that. Both of these rods that I have currently in my possession, they're both 6'6", and both of them are medium heavy action rods, and these guys have done great for me for the last 2 years now, pretty close to that point. But I do have another bait cast rod and reel combo. I'm gonna probably bring that out here probably later on this year when I go out fishing, but at the meantime, yeah, this is what I got to start with. Alright, set these guys aside, make sure they don't fall over. Now, obviously, all of you guys know, oh, there they go, they'll be okay. So obviously I got a lot of tackle here in this bag. I got all sorts of crankbaits, crankbaits, jigs, a couple of jerk baits, and some top frogs as well. And some of you guys that probably have seen my last video from this past winter, I actually decided to make a switch over to a different bait brand. For a few years I was using Guggen, but I felt like that something in my gut was telling me that maybe it was time to try into a change for this year. And that's when a good buddy of mine named Kyle, who also is sponsored by the brand 6 Sense Fishing, he actually talked me into making the switch over from Guggen to 6 Sense. So yeah, this past winter I bought several different soft baits made by 6 Sense Fishing, everyone. Obviously the first one right here we got is the 3.7 inch bongo. Now this is obviously a trailer bait, so you could rig this on either a chatterbait or a swim jig. That's usually what I would highly recommend. But of course I also got some of their Divine swim baits here. I've actually bought this pack last fall before the season actually was over, and I did land a couple bass on some of this stuff here. It's definitely one 6 Sense bait that I definitely approve of. I approve of, in my opinion. But also there's some other stuff in here that I purchased over the winter that we are going to throw out there as well. Definitely one that has got my attention, everybody, that I am super excited to throw is the 6 Sense Panorama right there. This is the 3.5 inch Panorama, everyone. Now there are a few other sizes out there. I think the smallest you can go, I believe it is a 2 inch. I think the smallest you can go is 2 inches. I'm pretty sure. If not, it's like 2.7 or 2.8, and the biggest you can go is 9 inches. So yeah, there's some other stuff in here that I wish I can go over it all with you, but I don't want to bore you guys to show you all my tackle. So now going into where I'm specifically going to go fish. There is a few areas this summer, well, not just this summer, but this year overall, that I am going to plan on going out and fish and check out some of these places. So the first stop, obviously, is literally about maybe a half-hour drive south of my house, and that is right around the shorelines of Lake Huron and some islands. And this area in particular is really good for anybody that knows anything about bass fishing in the local area. Clearly knows this is a very good area to go after both largemouth and smallmouth bass. And usually they start coming up shallow roughly right around the very beginning of the month of May. So, and since the month of May is just a couple more weeks away from here, I'm probably going to head out to a couple of areas that are known for having some good smallmouth and largemouth. And hopefully, like I said, if the weather stays warm for the rest of the month, I think we'll get some action there. So that's going to be our first plan for this year. That's going to be one location. And then another area that I'm planning on targeting this year is not too far away from my first stop. It's a little bit slightly further to the east. It's actually right on the far eastern end of the UP of Michigan here. We are targeting Drummond Island. That's going to be my next stop for the year. Because this island in particular, if anybody has visited this place, you guys know that it is absolutely beautiful. Like, the wilderness is just glorious up there. For anybody that does do fishing up there on the island, they know there's a variety of different species to go after. You can go not just after smallmouth, you can go after pike, walleye, perch, cisco, sometimes suckers as well. But really the most popular game fish out of all of these on the island is walleye. And yeah, walleye, believe it or not, here in Michigan is the most popular game fish of every other species, because they're just such good table fish, you know, to eat in general. So that's gonna be my next area. In that island, since there's a lot of gravel there, that's like pretty good habitat for smallmouth to be on. They like to be areas with a lot of water and a mix of some gravel. So I think I got a couple areas on the island that I am gonna check out and see if I can actually land one there or not, but who knows. And now for my next area, this is an area, in some of these places, by the way, I have taken you guys before. It's just something that I like to go out and do, because these are some really great hot spots in my personal opinion, from my experience anyway. So the next area we're going to be targeting is Grand Traverse Bay. Now, Grand Traverse Bay is a good about 3-hour drive south of here. There is some places there in the Grand Traverse Bay area that are known for some really good smallmouth fishing. And one particular location is just outside of Traverse City that I like to go out at, that has a hydro plant, but also has a little community pond where there is fish swimming in there, and it varies from the time of year. Some like in the late fall, there's gonna be the salmon run. They'll make their way up the river and get right into that little pond there and start spawning. And then towards springtime, like into the month of May, smallmouth will make their way up there, and a few of them will start making beds. And if you guys have seen any of my fishing videos from last year, I actually went to this location, and the water there in the pond, it is crystal clear. It is just absolutely beautiful. And I could actually literally see with my own eyes in a couple spots in the shallows that a couple smallmouth already were starting to make beds, and that was just absolutely cool to see that, especially in crystal clear water like that. So yeah, that was absolutely wicked. And going to near the hydro plant, which is right next to the pond, you could see in the current that there was a lot of smallmouth swimming around in there, but not just smallmouth, but I think there was also a couple of lake trout in the mix as well, because they do like cold water with some current. But yeah, that place is just absolutely wicked. So yeah, and now for my next location, I'm thinking about trying it out this year. I didn't know specifically if I was going to do it last year or the year before, but I think this year I'm going to give it a shot. I'm actually thinking about targeting Panasonic, and Panasonic is about a 2-hour drive west of here. It's right along the Lake Michigan shoreline. And this particular spot that I'm going to, there has been some smallmouth that have been caught in the river mouth, right in the little town there. Like I said, I've heard some good stuff out of that river, especially like a mix of walleye and pike as well, and some perch. But I just never got to fish there before, so I'm still kind of up to debate whether if I'm going to actually give that place a try or not. But yeah, that's totally awesome. Okay, so now moving on to one more spot. One more place that I definitely have on my list is the city of Charlevoix. Now, Charlevoix is about somewhere halfway, it's about a little bit somewhere between the city of Petoskey and the Traverse City area. It's almost halfway between these two places, but Charlevoix is a pretty small town, but do not let the small town fool you though, because this particular area does have some good fishing, especially right on the river canal that goes right through the heart of town. A lot of people love to go cast their rods right on the edge of the walkway there on the river and see if there's anything in there, whether if there's like lake trout, smallmouth, pike, any kind of cool species that likes to live on the coastal waters here on our Great Lakes. It's gonna be definitely one spot I'm gonna do again this year. Last year I was hoping to get out there, but unfortunately I just did not really have the time and money for it, so that was a bit of a bummer right there. But fingers crossed that this year we'll get back out there on the edge of the fishing pier and maybe do some smallmouth fishing out there again. So with that, yeah, that's all the stuff that I got on my list for some of the stops for 2025. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have any other possible locations you guys want me to try out in the northern part of Michigan. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and just go over a little bit of my tackle here with you guys real quick and show you like a few more baits what I plan on using for this year for 2025. Alright, so all this stuff here, everybody, we're going to go over some of the hard baits and jigs that I got for 2025. So all the jigs right here, you guys can tell, Some of them I may have shown on the channel last year. Obviously, I have a couple of these right here. This one is, these two right here in particular are made by Berkeley right here. So I've had these jigs for at least like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. And as for these ones here on the left, these two, surprisingly, they are Guggen Squad jigs. We got Green Pumpkin here. This is their Juicy jig, which is practically the all-to-go jig that they got. And this right here is their swim jig, Grass Hero swim jig in chartreuse white. And yeah, those are the only, surprisingly, I told you guys before, yeah, I'm really downsizing on my stuff, going away from Guggen. So yeah. Now this jig right here, this is like probably one of my favorite all-time jigs to bring with me personally, because this thing has landed me some nice smallmouth over the years, and this thing was a key on helping me land my PB smallmouth last year, and that was just absolutely, like, that just brightened my day when I caught that giant 6-pound smallie on this. Oh boy, oh boy. And now over here we got ourselves a pure white chatterbait, Z-Man chatterbait right here, 3/8 ounce. You guys may not remember last year I did have a green pumpkin colored one, but that one just for some reason just was not really helping me out, getting any action out on the water. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if this white one will make any changes here. And now on this side we got not 1, not 2, but 4 6th Sense jigs. 2 of them are the Divine Swimbait jigs. I got one that is the go-to like hybrid jig right here. And we got ourselves, maybe I did show this on the channel earlier or not, but this one is the Bullhead Finesse jig. And this thing, I mean, it looks, this is gonna probably be really great when I get up into shallow clear water. I'm gonna probably rig on a Boozined 3.3-inch Boozined on this thing, and I'm gonna do some little hops on the bottom, just cautiously a little bit, and see if any smallmouth are near the bottom and are gonna be interested in eating that. And then these 2 jigs right here, these ones are new here. I just bought these from Tackle Warehouse, and these are made by Dirty Jigs Tackle. And yeah, this one right here, just like the Strike King jig that I just showed you on the left corner, that's also a football headed jig. And this one right here, this variant little jig right here, this is a flip and pitch jig. This is Blue Craw right here, Blue Craw color. So I'm gonna throw that probably up in the shallows too in some murky water and see how that goes. But yeah, those are all my jigs for 2025 that I got right now. I'm probably gonna get a couple more added here pretty soon, into my tackle box right here pretty soon. I'll probably get a couple more, like maybe from Tackle Warehouse and stuff like that. So now on to my other 2 tackle boxes. Alright, now that we're going on to the crankbaits here, I want to show you guys a few of them that I did get, obviously from 6th Sense. I've showed them before. We obviously have the Cloud 9 series, a couple of them in here. We got the Cloud 9 right here, the C10 right here, and then this one is right here, the Deep Dive edition right here. That's the 300 DD. And we got ourselves, I think, a couple more crankbaits added in here. I probably showed you guys this too in the video. This one I'm going to be definitely throwing up shallow here in a couple weeks. That's the Brown Eye Special, and I've heard so many great reviews on this thing. They say this thing is deadly up there in the shallows, and they said it does get the job done. I'm definitely going to be throwing that up shallow here later on. And then a couple more I actually purchased lately. Gotta be careful. I actually got this one in the mail like a month ago. This is the Crush pressure series right here. This is the 50X right here with the faint rattles in it. Maybe I can get it to rattle for you. Yeah, you probably could just barely hear the rattles in there. So this one's also meant for like being thrown up shallow and stuff. And this is the Chartreuse Blackback right here. So that, I think, will really give off some bright colors up there and some milky, dirty water and stuff. And over here, this is the latest one I added in a few weeks ago. I bought this actually on Bass Pro Shops. This is this one is the Curve 55X series right here, and this is in color in Spanish Bone right here. And this thing is a pretty cool, almost like a translucent type of bait too. You can kind of see the rattles in there a little bit and stuff. So I'm gonna definitely throw that in definitely some clear water as well. And I think definitely some bass are gonna be checking that thing out like, ooh, thinking that might actually look like something yummy to eat right there. So yep, I definitely got a couple of other, brand of crankbaits. I got a lipless right here made by 13 Fishing. I haven't really caught anything on that. But over here, we got ourselves the Ozark Curve Red Crawd crankbait right here. And if any of you guys remember what happened last year on my first weekend of doing some bass fishing last year, you guys probably know what happened. So yeah, that was so much fun getting that out of my thumb. Okay, so on to my last box here of my bag, everybody. You probably will notice that there is a few things that look a little bit different in here. So obviously I have a couple of whopper ploppers in here and a couple of jerk baits, and I got a few top water baits in here as well, and some top frogs. But one thing I definitely want to point out, everybody, is that I used to have a 6th Sense jerk bait, the 106X variant, everybody. You guys may remember I had one that was in Rayburn Ghost color. Well, that one I decided to go and toss because a couple weeks ago, I went to go visit my sister in downstate for her baby shower that was going on. And in town, actually, where they were having it at, there was the local tackle store called Northwoods. And since it was literally just down the road from where we were having her baby shower, I had to go pop in there for the first time ever, and it was just absolutely loaded with tackle supplies and stuff. It was just so cool to see that. And I looked carefully into the hard baits aisle for bass to figure out, see what brands were on there, and they did have some 6th Sense in there. Just not as much as compared to the other stuff for some reason, but this was one of the few hard baits they had on the shelf, was the 106X jerk bait on there, and it was in Pro Blue scales, so I definitely had to get my hands on that. And also a couple more things that were also on the shelf in there. We had a couple frog. We had literally the 6th Sense Vega frog that was actually in there as well. They had a couple different color variants, but the one I definitely wanted to go with was baby bluegill. And I think the baby bluegill is going to be wicked going up shallow with this thing, tossing it into the weeds and some lily pads, and that thing might get swallowed up really good there. And now over here, also meant kind of for throwing up shallow, and it's a top water bait too. We got the plopper, or what in 6th Sense version is called the splashback, and this color variant was in Black Magic. And I think with that coloration on there in daylight, it is going to be wicked. And I am super stoked to try all this stuff out. This literally not only springtime but summer also, because some of these bass are going to be really, really cranky this coming spring. I have a feeling of it, and I really, really want to, you know, give you guys a little bit more content out here and getting out there a little bit longer stuff to show you guys of me doing some bass fishing. Last year there was some good stuff, but at the same time I felt like I wasn't really exactly getting enough of it. So that's why for this year, you know, I'm gonna be bringing a little bit more camera gear with me. I'm gonna have definitely a couple of GoPros with me on the way, and this camera right here, you guys know this is my old Lumix camera I've had for a few years. I'm gonna be bringing this along with me and stuff like that. But other than that, that's all most of my hard baits that I have. So let me know in the comments below which one you guys actually like to use the most. And with that, that's all I got to say, everybody, for this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you all go, everybody. I will see you guys in the next one.